Hey guys, my name is Dan, and welcome to a special edition of Dan Reviews It. This is not going to be really a review show. It is a tribute to the late frontman of Soundgarden, Audioslave, Chris Cornell, one of the great voices, maybe the greatest rock voice of an entire generation. I got the news, everybody got the news yesterday that Cornell had died, and then it came out later in the day that it was an apparent suicide. Now, this morning came the news via Rolling Stone magazine that his wife, Vicky, had kind of said that she talked to him the night of the death, and he sounded like he was real slow, and that he told her he had taken extra pills. He was on these meds for, I guess, for some addiction recovery and for other things, but this prescription for Ativan that he may have taken more than the recommended dosage, and perhaps the side effects of that are paranoia and suicidal thoughts. So whether or not that will come to be maybe a contributing factor, I guess we'll find out in the next couple of weeks. But I just wanted to kind of reflect on how much I loved Chris Cornell. I mean, he was, Pearl Jam is my all-time favorite band, so they're obviously my favorite grunge band as well, but Soundgarden was always like my second favorite of the grunge acts. I did love Stone Temple Pilots as well. Of course, Scott Weiland passed a couple of years ago. Alice in Chains was good. Nirvana was good. I think they're a little overrated personally, but Soundgarden was really, when Super Unknown came out in 1994, that was one of my favorite records. I mean, instantly. So many great songs on there from start to finish. The closer, like Suicide, which obviously is very ironic now, but was always one of my favorite Soundgarden songs, and I knew why it couldn't be a single. It was like 7 minutes long, and obviously, they didn't really shy away from talking about death on their singles, but, the album had already gone 4 or 5 singles deep, so. But I never got to see Soundgarden. It sort of came to pass a couple of times. One was for Down on the Upside in 1996. They'd come around either on my birthday or like the week of my birthday, and I was going to be home anyway, because my birthday's right around Thanksgiving, so I was going to be home from college, but at the time I didn't have a car, and I also didn't have a lot of money, so I said, all right, well, they'll come around again, I'll see them next time, and then they broke up, so missed that opportunity, and then I almost saw them a few years ago. Obviously they reformed, and I almost saw them at this radio station festival a few years ago, and it was Cheap Trick, Alice in Chains. There was a lot of good bands there, but it was raining heavily. It was an outdoor show, and I already had a fever, so that didn't help. And halfway through Alice in Chains' set, we all were miserable. We just were like, look, I want to see Soundgarden, but I also don't want to get sicker, so we got to go. So we left, and that was the last real opportunity I ever had to see Soundgarden. I missed the Chris Cornell solo shows when he was with Linkin Park. I wanted to go to those. I did see Audioslave at a festival show for their first record, so I saw him with Audioslave for about a half hour, but that was it. And it's a shame because, he really, God, what a voice on that guy. Temple of the Dog is another one. My sister-in-law, the one who actually broke the news to me about his passing, we were trying to get tickets for the Temple of the Dog reunion show in Philly, and obviously they sold out instantly. They were playing such a small venue, and we decided we didn't really want to pay several $100s through the various ticket retailers, the second sellers, StubHub and whatnot. So we just kind of bailed on that as well, and so I only got to see him just a little bit for that Audioslave show. I'm not going to go ahead and do like a top 5 or top 10 Chris Cornell songs, and the reason is it's one of those acts where it depends on the day, I mean, Super Unknown is like I said, my favorite. It's always been one of those albums where if somebody was like, what's your 10 desert island albums, what would you bring to listen to on this desert island till you die, Super Unknown was always on that list. So I mean, my favorites are probably from there. Black Hole Sun, as overplayed as it was, and I guess still kind of is on rock stations, is still an absolutely great song. My favorite from that album probably is Like Suicide, though, but The Day I Tried to Live is great. Fell on Black Days maybe is my other favorite. But when I was in college, I did a 2-hour radio show of Soundgarden songs. At the time, Audioslave, and I don't even think he had released any solo stuff except for the stuff from the single soundtrack. But so it was like 2 hours of Soundgarden. We did this thing every finals weekend. It was All-Star Weekend, it was called, and you signed up for a 2 or 3 hour show of an artist you liked. And at the time, Down on the Upside had come out. And I guess they had broken up by then, because it was probably 97, 98. And, I mean, I played things from Ultra Mega OK. I went back to, Screaming Life and Louder Than Love and obviously Bad Motorfinger. And, I ran the gamut of Soundgarden stuff. I was so into them in college that, yeah, I mean, I love their sound. And then he released the solo record, the first one, Euphoria Morning, which kind of got the short shrift. I mean, it only really had one big single, which was Can't Change Me. Great song. And then it released another single that didn't really do anything. And, it kind of went away very quickly, but, it's a very good album. And then the next solo thing he released was the James Bond theme, which was amazing. I used to work at Hollywood Video when video stores were still a thing. And when Casino Royale came out, honestly, I'd never seen a Bond movie by that point. And I still hadn't seen Casino Royale, but I would pop it on for like that first 10 minutes just so I could hear You Know My Name several times a day. I mean, what a great song. It's one of my favorite Bond themes for sure. And then he did that Scream album with Timbaland, which I know was, everybody hated it. I have to give him credit. I mean, first of all, I always really liked the title track, Scream. I thought it was a really good, pop song. It wasn't a rock song, but I liked that he was branching out, and I think he did that a lot. I mean, I think most of his solo stuff is kind of branching out because it's obviously more not instrumental, but more like acoustic or stripped down than a lot of the Soundgarden stuff was, which makes sense. I mean, it's just him and his guitar, and certainly some backing stuff, but at the crux of it, it was just Cornell and his guitar, rocking out. And so I thought that was cool. And even that last solo album, at Higher Truth, Nearly Forgot My Broken Heart, is maybe my favorite solo song since Seasons. I mean, what a great song. And then the Audioslave stuff, it's hard to even compare Soundgarden to Audioslave because they're two not completely separate sounds, but, with Audioslave you had all the Rage Against the Machine guys, but that voice of his just overpowered everything. It made those songs pop, and I didn't even know what my favorite Audioslave song is. Doesn't Remind Me is pretty great. Show Me How to Live, Like a Stone. I mean, they had so many good songs. Gasoline from that first album, which wasn't even a single, but that was a great song. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to kind of reflect on the career of this great man, and obviously death and even suicide itself sort of weaved its way through a lot of his music. I was just thinking yesterday when I heard the news, that first line in Blow Up the Outside World, nothing seems to kill me no matter how hard I try. Boy, does that resonate now. And Burden in My Hand has the line, kill yourself, kill everything you love. But still, even with all of that, we knew he battled a lot of demons and he had addiction, and it's still so surprising. I think with Kurt Cobain, it was more like we knew that he sort of hated his fame, and we knew that he obviously had a lot of drug issues at the time. Was in and out of facilities for that. And he was a lot younger. He was 27. When somebody in their 50s does it, and they have a family and they have children, and in this interview with Rolling Stone, his wife said that he had just flown home to do Mother's Day for a few days and was having a great time with the kids. It's like, people seem to be in such a good place, and then it turns out maybe they're really struggling with stuff maybe we don't even know. Eddie Vedder, the last really surviving grunge singers. We've lost, like I mentioned earlier, not only Kurt Cobain, but Lane Staley of Alice in Chains, and Scott Weiland, if you count SDP in the grunge era there, and now Chris Cornell too. So yeah, it's always a shock with suicide. I mean, obviously the last real big suicide we had was Robin Williams, which as well, completely out of left field, very shocking. So yeah, I just wanted to reflect on some thoughts and kind of show some love for this man who was just really, I mean, probably the greatest voice of a generation of rock singers. I mean, just so powerful. And go on YouTube and look at a lot of these old, not even the videos, but the live performances or the radio station acoustic performances. Just amazing stuff. And I do want to make this point as well. If you are struggling or if you know somebody that's struggling, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. I think it's an important number for everybody to have. I think everybody knows somebody that's been affected by a suicide or at least a suicide attempt. And certainly I think most of us throughout our lives have had some sort of suicidal thought as well. So yeah, I just want to make that call. That number again is 1-800-273-8255 if you or somebody you love is struggling. Well, thanks for listening. I'll be back with some happier stuff in the future. I've got a Metallica concert review that's going up. I saw them last week. Also a review for the movie Snatched with Amy Schumer, and you can check out my other videos now. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.